Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and today we are doing the update to our build. We did end up going Spine Snatcher, the new axe. The mods were local, so it's, I think, reliably strong. I'm going to explain how I kind of got my build going. I will put some gameplay at the end, and now I have, of course, a clip of me doing some delve. Of course, as you know, this is nothing crazy. We are still ramping up. I'm a slow boy. I'm on around tier 13, 14 maps, filling my atlas, doing the full circle thingy. I haven't done any of the Woodstone bosses or anything. At most, I have done one lich, and there's a little bit of a cheat code that we have. We are doing less damage because of that, but it is very, very good for bosses. You will um, see it eventually. Now, of course, let's go into the build itself. We are at level 90 right now. Warden. This tree is, of course, a work in progress because if you saw my build from last week, we are going to be using 3 or 2 cluster jewels. Those will give us 6 extra sockets, and then now are kind of close to like 1, and then 2, and maybe 3. I don't think this one is going to make it, but this one will, because we need resistances and there's also quite a bit of life. I'm also using around 3 to 4 quality of life patches, kind of, that I'm using. First of all, I'm using jewel and also some passives to get resistances because my neck and my ring are not that good, and also my gloves are not good, and we are also going to be using our gloves to get our 6 or 8 link with the ring eventually going. We are also going to be moving points from place to place, but this is like the initial thing. I'm going to first of all explain the quality of life things that I'm using, that you, if you want to min max for damage, you won't be using. The first quality of life is this one. My tinctures deactivate when I have 12 or more mana burn. This of course synergizes with Enduring Suffusion. If they have at least 12 mana burn, they will last up to 6 seconds, even if they are not active. With that and this node practiced reapplication, you will be able to have permanent tinctures, or well, there's like 0 point something percent that you won't have them available, but don't worry. Now, of course, tinctures themselves can be super strong. I don't have crazy tinctures right now. I'm using a normal one. This one I kind of rolled a little bit because I dropped it with like level 85. So I got, you want increased effect and increased mana burn rate because you don't really care about the mana burn rate. You're going to get the value anyway. And then you want multiplier, and then on the other one, penetration. Attack speed is kind of like a stopgap, and it synergizes well with trauma, but we actually have to be a little bit careful of trauma because we may kill ourselves until we get the setup to get more endurance charges and be more tanky. Now, for other things, we have general life things. We are using replenishing remedies with 2 breathing jars and also nature's concoction to get these charges super up. There will come a day when we will be using Frost Mage and reserve almost all of our mana to get around 70 to 80 cost on the Spirit Burst, so it can't like mess up. But for now, that is of course very expensive, and we are not doing it. Now, of course, I'm using also Blood Socket Blade. This way, my tinctures are actually taken out from my life instead of my mana pool. This makes it so I never have a time where I run out of mana randomly because I forgot to take them off, or they deactivate also at 12 stacks, but because we have quite a little bit of mana, you can take this one off and the other one off and just deactivate them manually or not, however you want. I'm also using 1 mana leech point here to get my mana quite consistently from that, but from our withering jars, we could actually use those. I only use this point because it's very comfy and we don't want problems right now. We are still farming. Other one is the charge mastery, making it our charges are 10 seconds baseline, but if we have that mastery, they are going to be 20 seconds baseline. Right now I'm running around with 16, so when I'm just running around doing things, I don't really want them to time out, so they last 20 seconds. Our damage, as you can see, we do quite a bit of fire, lightning, some chaos from the Geos themselves. This build, it's not expensive to begin because the Spine Snatch has gone down in price quite a bit. When I bought it, it was 4 divines, but now it's all the way down to like 200 chaos. That's less than 2 divines. But still, most of the money you will spend it on the Geos themselves and also on the min-maxing for the corruptions and tempering and tailoring orbs, etc. That is super far away in the future. Same thing with Disciple of Slaughter. It's actually not super needed to have that. Another quality of life is the Axe Mastery to destroy my enemies when I kill them. This makes it so porcupines and also the mobs in Delph that explode and other exploding mobs don't leave corpses, so they actually don't leave anything. Also, Hatchet Master, it's very good. We will eventually anoint this and not use points in these ones because we are killing actually all of the worms. We have a very reliable way to get Onslaught. We are using the worms also quite often to enable this mastery. It has a baseline of 15% increased effect of 100 tinctures, and they are very strong. And you also have 15% increased effect if you have used a flask recently. That's why while we are ramping our charges, you can use both of them, but if not, you can alternate them. Every 3 or 4 seconds you will pop one, and then wait a little bit, then pop the other. This is a very active build. If you don't like pressing buttons, this is not the build for you. There are a lot of flicker builds that are very comfy, those ice bite or whatever they are, or physical even, but here you will press buttons, a lot of them. Also, the cheat that I told you before, we have Unbound Avatar. This is enabled when we get to 100 Unbound Fury, and what it does is give us 100% more elemental damage. Eventually, when we convert around 90 to 90 something percent of our physical to elemental, be it lightning or cold or whatever it is, this will kind of double our damage. It lasts for 10 seconds, and every time you get an ailment on enemies, you're going to be getting these charges. I'm using now, of course, Oath of Winter, because with this and Avatar of the Wilds, we can freeze anything. And by anything, mean, of course, bosses that cannot be slowed below baseline or cannot be slowed that much. They will still be a little bit slow because they are frozen. And also, this mastery will work. The enemies take permanently 5% increased damage for each second they have been frozen. Because they will be frozen, they will just keep using their abilities. But that still means that they are going to be taking that 5% per second extra. You also have, of course, some conversion that you can get in other places, some penetration, but we are not going full on cold because we are 3 elemental thanks to our light poacher. Every single of those spirit charges that you can see is giving me 5% of my physical damage as extra of each element. That's why we are also stacking so many of them, and why we use all of these items with extra abyss sockets on them. Now, the build itself, it's like this. Now I'm going to show you the path of building. This is the path of building. Let me 1 second. Should be on this one. It's very messy because of also PoE2. Now, there is one thing that you need to know. I'm going to leave the path of building in the description, but it's very likely that even as I'm filming this video, I'm changing a lot of these jewels. These are not good jewels. We want, as I said on the first video, we want life, critical strike multiplier, if possible attack speed when crit or attack speed, and then physical flat, and then all of the other flats. Even chaos flat is good because it has some good weighting, but we don't penetrate chaos, so it's way less valuable. Of course, the dream is to have 6 mod jewels everywhere, but it's not going to happen. What you can do is get decent ones, like for example this one. This is decent, even if it has chaos, it is what it is. Has 5 mods instead of 6, but you can make a lot of this with having a 4 mod jewel, and then use the special Ducard and whatever that you can do to add 1 mod more. It was on the reveal. Also, you will see that I have 3 million DPS over here. I am not unbound yet. And remember how also the Warrior's Legacy works with Flicker. You will attack, and then because you teleport to somewhere else and then back, your copy will keep attacking. We will be using in the future the Foul-born version of Warrior's Legacy. We just try to get as less reduced maximum life as possible, and also volatile by it even lower. But you will lose some life, as you can see. I would lose 800 life, but I would gain a ton of DPS, because remember our attack speed also scales with trauma. Now for my spine snatch, I'm using right now 5 murderers and 1 searching. I think the idea is, if you have good rolls on everything, is to have maybe 2 searchings or 1 searching, because critical strike is not going to be an issue with our super Rose Thorn. Like, take into account right now from this Rose Thorn, we are getting 542% increased critical strike. We also, of course, have our Assassin's Mark and also the power charges. This won't be all up unless you are on a boss, because we have a very strong socket pressure, so you can't have the auto mark. So if you want, you can even take the power charges off, but I do like to put them, because most of the time where mobs actually survive more than 1 or 2 seconds is because they are bosses, and on bosses you will have these 3. Also, do remember to put your Flicker Strike on a green socket to get that extra chance to get frenzies, and also your Assassin's Mark in a blue socket to get even higher percentage of getting that power charge. All the other ones are kind of whatever. I do have my Blood Rage also in a green socket, but that's whatever. Arctic Armor is kind of cool. It has some effect duration. This chills enemy when they hit you. It's kind of good. Flesh and Stone only has like some cooldown recovery rate. We don't really ever change. If you don't know, our defensives are mainly Flesh and Stone. In the stone part, we take 90% less damage from enemies in our aura, and because we jump to them, it's very likely that we have this up. Also, Arctic Armor, even taking 10%, 20% less, sorry, from physical, and also fire. That's why we are kind of tanky to physical and fire, and then we also have fortified. It's very likely that you get the 23 stacks of fortified even on bosses, because we hit very hard, and we have eventually quite a little bit of penetration. So even if they are kind of tanking the penetration situation, we still get them quite low on that. Now for the links themselves, as you may see here, it's in Flicker, Trinity, Multi-Strike, and Trauma. This is in my chest. It will eventually go on our gloves. You will want to have Insanity, or I don't know if it's Aura or the other one. You want to have the 16% more attack speed, or the 3.5% increased critical. That way, you're going to be very safe on using 2 searchings, or maybe even 5 murderers on your spine snatch. Now, of course, after that, you will have kind of like a pseudo 5 link. Then you can use an Elder Exalted to get the critical strike multiplier mod or the faster attacks. Both of them are very, very good. One is most bursty, the other one is more safe or clear because you will have like the 16% attack speed and also the faster attacks skill itself. Other things that you can do is the new ring. You can get also 2 more supports on that, but I'm not going to really budget for it right now because it's the good ones are going to cost a ton. What I do recommend that you do is try to fix your resistances so you can take the points off the resistances, or maybe even get some resistances on your jewels. It's not bad to have them, and then you can get more of them. Now, for the future, this is going to be the last thing that I talk about before we go into the other places. Also, we kill Alira. The resistances are very, very tight, and we can't really spend them everywhere elsewhere. Of course, in the future, if you have a very good item with resistances, you can change Alira to another point. But for now, what we want to do is get a lot better jewels, then eventually take these points off. These are the ones that are easier to take because we are not really stacking frenzies. Like we have 5, something crazy, like 40% increased damage, but you also have all of these things. 10% increased attack speed. Don't really use evasion, movement speed is whatever. This is kind of nice, but nothing crazy. But for these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, we could get another socket, or maybe other socket and some very, very needed resistances. Afterwards, cluster jewels may be a thing that you want to do. You want to have like the super basic ones are the Feed the Fury and Martial Prowess, and then you get a third one that is kind of like the bait one, so you can use those two without having to use extra points. I'm going to explain it a little bit in another video when I actually have one of those cluster jewels. But then also you can, if you want, get Blood Scent. It will make it so you get to 30 rage earlier, because right now I do have on my configurations 30 rage, but if you want you can put 15 instead, kind of like a middle ground between while you are ramping and while you are actually hitting the boss. And with that you have like, I don't think you really need 3 Blood Scents. Like with 1 or 2 should be enough, but the problem is the price goes up a lot. And Martial Prowess is not bad because it does give us some accuracy that will help us cap accuracy. That way we don't really need to use the accuracy in our Darkness Throne. That it's what I'm using right now. Ideally you get one with like 240 or maybe even 300, and with that you forget about accuracy and then can use something like Calamitus or other things. No issues. Now, of course, you can always get a little bit more life over here and get this socket over here. More frenzies are never bad. You can get frenzies on your gloves if you really want. Don't recommend it because I do want those Elder gloves to have the 6th link. And now let's go and do one really, really fast map. Of course, as you might expect, the build, it's nothing crazy tanky. I'm like 5.7k life. We do have precision on our life, so it has a little bit of extra thing. And let's do this. So this is extra lining with critical, elemental weakness. We don't really want to do those. This is some extra fire, extra life, whatever. Now let's do this one. A core map. Oh no, actually core no. I want to first finish the other ones. As you can see, I'm doing the whole circle thing. And if you really want to check the PoB and don't kind of watch anything, you can go away. Of course, thank you very much for watching the video. And if you want, you can like and subscribe. Now, of course, with Hoarfrost, we are very safe against most rares, because they get frozen unless they are immune. And if any of the rares have the thing that actually reflects the elements, we are immune to freeze because of Arctic Armor. Now, if you see yourself in a pickle, or if you see that there's like a big thing, you can always pop your Avatar of the Wilds, and you will be way safer because everything is going to get frozen, and because you have a ton of damage, it's very likely that you have no issues with the mobs themselves. Of course, the tinctures, you do have to activate them, even if they deactivate by themselves. And on the flask, I'm using a super basic flask that I've been using forever. You can use one that has like use again when the effect ends. Oh, and also I don't have any way to protect myself from corrupted blood right now. Ideally, you do have it on any jewel. You can corrupt them randomly and see if it procs. But for now, what I do have is like if I see a lot of corrupted blood on the map, or I die or whatever, I just use a flask that I have here. Also, because we get a lot of life flask charges, it's very likely that if you are fast, you can actually just change it fast enough for it to get charges and also to save yourself. I'm not looting anything because I'm kind of doing the showcase. I want to get to the boss before we finish this thing. And another thing, of course, getting chaos resistance is going to be super hard. So I may die on this boss, but it's going to be whatever. Remember to keep your things up. But also you can always use Avatar of the Wilds, and then, as you can see here, it gets frozen and can't do anything. Now we need to wait until it phases. And same thing, when you see the spider again, Avatar of the Wilds, it's frozen and now it's dead. It's very safe to do bosses on this build. You can kind of punch above your grade, and this was also with some extra life. It's nothing crazy. Right now, the DPS, I think, with Avatar of the Wilds, if you see the PoB, it's around like 16 to 17 million. I think that's enough to do all 4 stones with no issues. And you can always get tankier by getting this node over here. That is very good. In Exile, where you are hitting yourself with trauma, you will get some endurance charges. Have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video.